Okay, Andy. Right. Any people watch the first two parts and they're sitting there seething now. They're saying this bloke's, he's made it look bloody easy. He's won everywhere. He's won as a punter. He's won as a bookie. But we all know that everybody has losing runs. So how did you used to deal with when it won £1,000 each way on 50-1 Gold Cup winners, but you were doing your cobblers day in day out? How did you deal with that?
Very badly, Simon. And look, gambling is not easy. Punting for a living is not easy. Getting on horses, which you fancy, is not easy. Your bad runs, you're going to have them, and it's hard. But I think every punter, if you're going to go out, any young people are going to go out, please write your bets down every day, and you will see the bets you like to have, the bets that make you money, and even in your bad ones, it breaks your heart to write in your big diary that you've done 400 quid one day, 300 quid the next day, and it gets monotonous when you're out of form. Take a deep breath, because it will change. If you're any good, it will change. Now, I've been skint more times than I can remember. I can remember once at Newton Abbot, my dad was the first person I knew, basically, out the whole family that had horses. And he had a horse with Richard Holder. And we was at Newton Abbot one day, and somebody that was riding there, our friends of my dad, said, look, I've ridden in this race. He might not win the race, but he's a certainty to get in the frame. I can remember I wasn't having a bet that day. I've had 100 quid each way, 10-1. It's got to be a short head for third. I've done 200 quid. I chased that 200 quid for 6 weeks. I'd done £42,000. And I remember I owed everyone. I owed Ladbrokes, I owed Eels, I owed Victor Chandler, I owed Stephen Little, Bob Menzies, Mike Bloff. I had accounts with a few people, and I got right behind the black ball. And I remember I was so depressed, and it took me a long time to get myself out of it and square it. It probably took me the best part of a couple of years to actually pay everyone. And I can remember with Chandler's, I owed Chandler's, and every month I'd send them, I don't know, 50 quid or 100 quid or whatever I could afford. And I remember I sent the last bit of the money I owed and thought, oh, that's unbelievable, right, I'll get this back, I'm determined to get this back. As I sent him the last bit of money, it come back, many thanks for and dear Andy Smith, many thanks for your payment. That now makes us square our account, but your account is now closed. They never even give me a chance to get me dough back.
But most people would give you a bit of rope because they wanted you to win it back so you could pay it back.
Stephen Little was amazing. Stephen Little, I owed him a right chunk at the time as well. And if I owed Stephen, let's say a figure 10 grand, and I give Stephen a monkey, he'd always give me a chance with that monkey, and lucky enough, he'd give you a chance to bet your way out of trouble, but you couldn't go over whatever. So I was lucky there were some good bookmakers about. Going back to good bookmakers, I like to say, when I had these early accounts, as a punter, you do need accounts, you do need to be able to get on. And I can remember the old Sporting Life when gun trips and all that used to have the adverts trying to get punters in there. And one of the first bookies I ever bet with was Bob Menzies. What a firm. Used to ring up, hello, it's Andy. How'd you bet in the 315 at Newton Abbot? And they bet your horse to win £1,000. And Mike Botright from Bungay, he was the same, but they were two bookmakers, the old-fashioned bookmakers used to ring up. I had some great fun with them.
Yeah, so a lot of your work, a lot of your business on course then would have been sort of trading, betting them big, laying them small, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm never frightened to take profit on something. If you back to horse at 6-1, and next thing you can lay 3-1, all of a sudden you're going to have like 16-1 your money. You're guaranteed to beat the bookie. If you're having the over the odds like you can, you are guaranteed to beat the bookie. But the art is, as I say, it's hard to get on for people, but you've got to work at it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the difference in dealing with losing runs for a punter and a bookmaker? But have the lines always been a bit blurred with you? Is it sort of been the same way you've dealt with it? Or
I've dealt with losing bookmaking badly, and punting probably even worse. I was a chaser, Simon, I think years ago, and I said earlier I lost that 40 odd grand chasing. That's another thing. I say it before, I say it again. Once you start chasing, you've got no chance. You might get out of it the first time, you think, I could do it forever. Once you start chasing, you will lose. So just take a deep breath.
All right, now people like to talk about professional punters. Back in those sort of days before Betfair, when the business is quite good on course, is where everybody went to bet. So all the professional punters probably would have been on course betting. Now, as a bookmaker, were there any that were so good you'd try and give a swerve to, look the other way if you saw them coming or something?
I'd try to give everyone a bet if I could. But as I said earlier, I had such good staff that if Dudley come into you and wanted a grand at 6-4, certainty without even speaking to him, he was gone and had the grand back at 6-4. You know, I can remember once laying, what was it, the horse we laid, Corals come in, it was at Goodwood one day, and it was a maiden race, and they had a 5,600 with me. And before I known it, you know, it wasn't hedging money, it was someone's money. You know, I think it was the first time out horse. But certainty come straight to the joint and said, I've had all that back. Which he did. He knew I had good staff, and I'd like to think there was nowhere I said, no, you can't have a bet. There's plenty I said you can't have a bet because you owe. But I tried to give everyone a bet.
Right, the betting exchanges, everybody sort of realises now that it was a bad thing ultimately for the betting ring. But how was it for you? Did you sort of embrace it when it first came in, or was it
I thought when it first came in, it was marvellous, you know, great. So, you know, because you think you're a good judge, there is 1,000 better judges out there than me. There are so many better judges who can't bet anywhere on playing on the machine. And as I said earlier, when I started in the back lines, my best customers were the frontline bookies. Well, what the first thing bookies done was get rid of their staff and put everything back into cyberspace. So it wasn't actually going around the ring anymore. So the guy who had a bit of flair went over the odds. Horses become the true price. Those horses I said earlier, they were 20 in the front line, I was 33. They were 100 on Betfair. That's the prices I made them. So, but I thought Betfair was going to be a great thing. And then I fought against it. And I thought, oh, no, I'm better than this. But another time I nearly went skint was I thought I was going to be bigger. Not bigger. I knew more than what Betfair did. Knew more. Oh, dear. They took my trousers down, whacked my ass and said, right, get back home. But now I've come to work with the Betfair, you know, and I as I said earlier, if you go and have a few bets on a horse at 6-1, what's wrong with laying 3-1 on the machine? If you're not going racing, like I used to go racing all the time, now I'm staying home. Just try to build up your odds, so you got better odds.
And would you say that it sort of cut the middleman out a bit as well? So the people that you would take bets off, which you knew would have been inspired, or the other way, you know, absolute mug money, you weren't getting that anymore because it was going straight on. Straight
on the machine. We mentioned somebody you asked me earlier, John Noakes. John never used to miss a day. No. You know, and I spoke to him at Cheltenham recently, and he just plays on Betfair, the exchanges, and good luck to him. You know, so that's where the value lies, let him have the value.
So you've scaled down now to just a handful of pitches. When did that scaling down start? How long did it take you before you thought this game's not quite what it used to be?
As I said, I had a few number one pitches, and I sold a few to John Hooper, and I kept a few. You know, John brought Wincanton off me, he brought Chepstow off me, and he brought Bath off me. And good luck to him. John's a good bookmaker and a very strong bookmaker, and that's hopefully the ring will stay strong because of the likes of John. But no, I scaled down and I kept Bath and I kept Newton Abbot. They're summer tracks. There's some cracking boozers on the way home from Bath and Newton Abbot. I still like to have a pint after racing, and I quite enjoy going in the summer, as I said. So I've still got an handful. I've got Fosslas, where that's different. You know, you go down there and you rent the pitch basically. And I love Epsom Derby. I've just bid for 2 pitches at Epsom Derby for June. I've got them in the family enclosure, which is in the middle. I treat that as a good day out. We go in there with the kids. We have a picnic and 15 pints of cider. It's beautiful.
No, we've just scooted over about 40 years worth of career in the betting ring. Now, I know you got some stories, and I think we might want to share a couple of them.
Stories of what, being skint, having money.
First of all, there's one you told me about when you and Ashley, you've mentioned before, had a bit of a big night out before a big day's racing when you were working for Eddie Baxter.
Was that the one in Torquay?
That was the one where you were both tic-tacking and all the favourites.
Oh, that was a blinder. We was in Leatherhead.
How many stories are there anyway?
Thousands. But we was in Leatherhead for the Derby, and on the Friday, me and Ash decided to have a night out. We gets in about 6:30, 7:15. Gets through the hotel. As we're going upstairs to get a couple of hours kit, who's coming down the stairs? Eddie Avalon. He sees us. We're both skimmish like, so we've had a couple of hours kit. We gone to Epsom the next day. Eddie's in tats. So I'm tic-tacking out to Ashley. Ashley's in the middle in Shyster's Alley. So we're knick-knacking all day. And like, obviously we're pretty hungover, but we're grafting because, you know, we've been there for a week. We want Eddie to win a few quid. Well, anyway, 6 favourites, a 1 and a second favourite. So we back in the car. Time we get near the A303 to get down. I looked across to Eddie and I said, we weren't too bad there for 2 pissed up people. We won 1,500 quid on the day, Eddie. He said, think how much I would have won if you two would have been sober. Like, we've grafted all day. He's the only bookie in the world this one, and we still got a bollocking. That was a good one. Another time, like, you know, you obviously, everyone knows the story with the taxi, and we all used to go to glorious.
Well, hopefully everyone will now.
Well, I think they knew anyway. But we used to go to Glorious Goodwood every year, and we'd all drink in the Royal Hotel in Bognor Regis. Dave Brewer, myself, a few Northerners. I think Bob Jacobs used to go in there. I remember putting Bob to bed a few times, and we'd have a few tote staff were in there, and we'd have a few beers and a few more and a few more. Well, 2 o'clock in the morning, we're sat outside on the store. I think my brother's having a fag or something, and a taxi comes to pick someone up, and we're staying up at Fontwell Park in the little travel lodge up there. I thought, I can't be bothered to wait for a taxi here. I said, there's one right outside there, that'll do. Well, we jumped at it, didn't we? I can't remember who done the driving now. One of us, we shouldn't have driven. It was stupid. But it was even more stupid when they're on the radio control is coming up, taxi 101, where are you? And Michael says, we're just going past Tesco's on the A27. I looked in the mirror, there was 3 old Bill chasing me on the A27. Well, we all got nicked, but listen, it happened, and no harm was done, thank the Lord.
And your transport problems weren't just on roads, were they?
Roads? I had a lot of transport problems and never no money to pay fares and everything to get on transport.
Well, there was a bit of a seafaring story.
Oh, that was... We had another good time at Newton Abbot. Yeah, me, Ashley, and a fella called John Chard. We've been in some nightclub in Torquay all night. Come out, we decided to... There was a boat, a lot of boats in the marina there, so we decided to take one out for a bit of a spin about 3 in the morning. And next thing you know, we got nicked again. I'd done well at getting nicked. And they took us in the police station all night, and we're there, and next morning have a little walk out in the yard. Well, obviously we're going to miss the first at Newton Abbot, aren't we? And Charlie was absolutely crapping himself. And he come up to me, he said, you got to admit, we've done it. He said, they got forensic. I said, Charlie, we've nicked a boat, we ain't murdered anyone. Anyway, they've all gone in and admitted it and whatever. And I think I got such a lesser charge, it was a joke. So I go to court with Ashley, and Ashley says, the judge says, Mr. Woodford, he said, what's your expenditure? He said, well, I earn £20 a week or £30 a week. I give me Nan a tenner, and I got this, and I got this at the club book. I owed of electric. He said, well, Mr. Woodford, he said, that leaves you with £5 a week. He said, no, my lord. He said, I lose that gambling. It was so funny, I'm crying. Anyway, he finds him 200 quid, and Ashley wants to pay a nicker a week, 2 quid a week or something. Anyway, I was next to him. I got a great big chunk out of my pocket. Must have been flying as well. I said, I'll tell you what, we'll pay it now. Come on, let's go. And I get, you could have heard a pin drop. It was so funny. But there we are. That's another story.